Everyone wants the secret strategy, but most don't even have the discipline to follow one.
The thing is, most traders, I feel like they're not consistent, right? They want to chase profits all the time, but they're not
Mhm.
consistent. So, my thing is, we're going to go through this video and kind of go through some key points as far as how they could be consistently profitable instead of chasing profits all the time.
Exactly, because your emotions will like sabotage you. I have learned this. We've been in this for too many years to know that your emotions get the best of you, especially when you're a newbie, when you're now starting out in trading. You just want to be right. But you got to realize that you are going to fall, you are going to fail, you are going to lose some of those trades.
Yeah, the crazy thing is when you're talking about trading, some of the people they get a rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I used to get a rush when I bust a trade and you'll profitably be like, yes, all right, the next rush. But over time, where do you build up the consistency? Because if you don't have discipline, then you're gonna overtrade. If you don't have discipline, then you're gonna make mistakes. But if you have the right trading plan to go with everything, then it makes a whole lot of difference.
Well, for me personally, I just feel like discipline is more important than your strategy. And the reason I say that is because when you have discipline, you still live another day to trade, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
real talk because if you don't and you blow your account, say you go and you got 10 grand in this account and you blow this, you're done. Now you got to go find money somewhere else. Whereas if you take a small loss, you still have tomorrow to continue trading. So for me, discipline was everything. I think that's what really, they always say that women are better in trading than men. Boop, boop.
I'll give that.
But
Y'all,
it's
y'all,
because
yeah.
of discipline. When we say, okay, this is the loss, this is as low as I'm going to go, we're getting out instantly. That's it. There's no emotions. And we're not bots, we're humans. We're always going to say, it can go here, but what if it goes to the 200? But what if it goes to this area? And we just play off of our emotions. Your emotions will sabotage you.
For this, it's like and a lot of people get fall into a trap where I always recommend before you go into depth as far as trading real money, just take a little while to back test, right? Just take a little while to back test, study,
But
right?
not too
Study.
long.
Study, and always study because even today I still study. I still learn from other people. I still have mentors. But the thing I feel like is most people when they start out with demo trading, they're not using the proper risk. They're just throwing it, and there's no discipline behind it because it's not real money. So that's why I said never use demo for too long because if that's the case, then you're gonna be scared when it comes time to you for you to
You
make a
got to
trade.
put some type of skin in the game. And that's just my belief. I understand, you want to be in for a little bit. When I say little bit, I'm talking about like a short period of time. Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. Personally, that's me because I feel like if you stay in this for a month, 2 months in a demo, you're really going to get scared out when it's time to actually put money, to actually place that trade, because you're going to be afraid. So I always say just give it a little bit, just figure out, get your feet wet, and you know how to maneuver through the systems. But you're gonna need to put some type of skin in the game because you're gonna need to feel that loss. When it's not your own money in this, it hits different, right? But when you lose money, oh, that shit hit different. It
So
sure does.
so the thing is when you start trading with real money, you have and I always recommend when you're starting out, the money that you're putting up, don't make sure that that's not the money for your rent. Make sure that that's not the money for your mortgage, your car payment. Make sure it's money that you could say, listen, you know what? If I lose it, I lose it. It sounds crazy, but it's investing and it depends on how you look at it. Some people are just gambling. I have people that come in my group and they're like, yo, I got $100 and I want to flip it, right? That's gambling, right? Versus if you have a strategy, if you're disciplined enough or you learn from someone, then you could take the better trades, right? You have a strategy, then work with that strategy, but make sure you're disciplined enough to when you see something, you take it.
When we talk about strategy and we talk about discipline, I think you really need to have discipline throughout your whole life for this to truly work, right? You need to get up in the morning at a certain time. You need to prepare for yourself. Okay, I know the market ends, at this time. After the market closes, look over your charts, know what you're going into. But it's your whole body. So like right now, Georgia and I are doing 75 hard, right? And the word hard is for a reason, okay?
Hard, hard.
Listen, I'm have one foot right now
You
and I'm
wanna you
still
wanna
doing
you wanna show them
75.
it?
Look, right here. There we go. 75 hard. And it really changed me, right? Now, we've been doing trading for years, but I feel like getting into 75 hard. Now, let me tell you a little gist, okay? You have to wake up at a certain time. So we wake up at 5 a.m. daily, okay? We give ourselves grace on the weekend, but 5 a.m. every morning to head to the gym.
Every morning.
We know we have to take our progress pictures. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. We know we have to drink a gallon of water. We know we have to do certain things every single day. 2 workouts, rain, snow, don't matter. You're going to be outside. So we have to go in just like how we have this discipline in our daily life. That trickles over into trading. When we say this is our stop loss, this is our stop loss. When we say this is where take profit is, this is where take profit is. It's okay if the trade runs. Like the other day, I did Google, right? He wasn't here. I played Google and it hit like my first level. Now Google blew past and ran,
Blue
y'all. When I
pass.
say ran, I mean that bad boy ran.
Blue pass.
But at the end of the day, you got to be okay with profit.
You gotta be.
Okay? You're not always going to hit the ceiling and be all right with that.
Yeah. That trade did like what, 200
Way more than that. I feel like
200%.
crazy.
And she took 20% on the trade.
And I
or
was all
something.
right. Okay, it really depends also in how much you're trading with. Okay, so the more you put in, not everybody's willing to take a big risk. Now there are trailing stops, which I'm a trailing stop girl. Okay, when I get to a certain level, I'm putting a trailing stop. I rather see money. Okay, I always tell him, don't let a green trade turn red. That's just my philosophy.
But also it's like taking profits signify that you're moving forward. And a lot of times I know that when I first started, especially in options,
Yeah.
when you're trading futures and forex, it's different, right? But when you're trading options, if you're not taking profit and you have a set target limit, when your target limit might not hit and then it pulls back.
Yeah.
When it pulls back, that contract is deteriorating.
This is not
So
futures. This is
so
not Forex, okay?
right.
So that contract will be eaten up.
Right. So with that, your contract is getting eaten up and then you might have been up 30-40% and then when it pulled back, now you're down. Now you're only up 10%. It pulled back again, now you're down 5-10%. So
Yep.
by the time it goes back up, you're nowhere near the profit that you were at.
Correct.
Right? So the thing I always stress to people is because I've been trading for a while, I always take profit. It's okay to scale out of your trade and leave runners and let them run, but also have a trailing stop so your trade don't go back in the red.
But when you're first starting out, those small profits is going to build that profitable mindset. It's going to make you stronger. You want those wins, right? To build up your confidence. Just like anything in life, you want to build up your confidence. So take those small wins. I don't care if it's 10%. I don't care if it's 20%. Something is better than nothing. We know people that may throw the bag, but they're only taking 1 or 2%.
Yeah. And the thing is with options, when you take a trade, sometimes you're down immediately, depending on the contract or depending on the asset that you're trading, right? Because there's spreads. So for me, it's like, I always look at it, there's a compounding rule, right? Just like you have compounding rule over years of building compound interest, you make a lot more money as it compound. Think about it if you're building 10% a day. 10% a day. In 2 weeks, you double your account, right? Just by 10% a day. Some people might look at it and be like, 10%? Yeah, just 10%. So that's why for me, I like starting out, my wife used to get pissed. She used to get pissed. I'll be up 100% on a trade and I'll still let it. I'm up 100%. Yeah, I'll let it ride because it didn't hit target yet, right? But when it pulled back and by the time it hit target, I'm only up 40%.
Yeah.
And it will piss me off. And sometimes
Sell into the momentum, y'all.
so the thing is, again, it's different forms of trading, right? And when you're talking about options trading is different from forex. It's different from futures. Now I do trade forex, right? But when you're talking about options trade, which I trade on a daily basis, I make sure that at 10% we are trimming something, because not only that we're building confidence in our trade and know that, all right, we can take 10%, but it's that feeling of a win, right? And small wins over time. Think about the small wins over time that build up the confidence.
Correct. Your self trust is the biggest like signal that you can get. If you're not confident in that trade, don't go in it. Okay.
Facts.
So, like, for example, today we were in the market for about a good, what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes before we even took the first
Yeah,
trade.
30
Now, we
minutes.
watched trades run, but we just weren't confident in that trade. And luckily we didn't, because all of those trades ended up reversing and we were able to get into the trade and probably make more money. So you have to listen to your inner self. If your inner self is telling you, okay, you know what? I analyzed that trade the night before. I looked over it. I know this is where Google or Apple is supposed to do. If your signal go up, because you're going to put your alerts in, right? Just like we do, we put in our alerts. Take your trade. Be confident in your trade. You put in that alert for a reason. So if you put in that alert, go in your trade, right? I'm a true believer in that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, for example, we have an alert on Google. I don't care what happens. When that alert goes off, I'm throwing a bag on Google. And I promise you guys, it always hits, right? We took the time to back test.
Yeah.
We analyzed it. So we might be saying, okay, we getting into AVGO. Google, take that, please.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
So the only time that we won't take the trade, no matter what, right? Because this is where discipline comes in. The only time we don't take the trade is unless we already made 3 trades for the day. If we're 2 trades in, you best believe we're taking a trade. But if we're 3 trades in,
That's it.
That's it for the day. I'm not taking no more trades.
I'm not
right?
over-trading.
There's no point of over trading. And trust me, there's times, and you could go back even on our lives, where Google went off and like Google went off and it just ran. But you could see the discipline part because we didn't take the trade, because we're already in trades and we already made the trades for the day. So you have to develop that discipline, because what you don't want is, you don't want to be in profit and then lose that.
Correct.
Right? And there's a lot of traders that are coming in and they get that win. All right, cool. I win the first trade. You get the second trade, you win the second trade. And then all of a sudden,
That third one will
you
get
should
you.
be done for the rest of the day. Done for the rest of the day. But guess what? You went ahead and take that third trade. And now when you take that third trade, you start losing in there. So say for instance, you're up $1,000 for the day. And now, bam, you're down $300. Well, psychology says, right? Because I'm telling you what you may be thinking, because I've done it few times, well, to start saying, all right, enough is enough, right? All right, now I'm up $700. Shit, all right, I'm still profitable for the day. Then something happened, drop even more. Shit, I'm only up $500. Still profitable for the day.
Y'all relate?
You walk away and then you come back. Shit, you down $1,000. So now you're at break even. You're pissed off, right? And now you're revenge trading, or you're hoping that something happened to go back in your direction. And now instead of hoping, shit start going sideways. It start even get worse. So now you're down $500. Now you're praying to God. You're praying to God that you're back to break even for the day. And this is the reason why we say discipline has to be part of your trading plan. You have to be disciplined, because if not, you will overtrade and you lose money, right? And we're not in that. We've done back tested. We've been through certain things now to say, like, all right, enough is enough, right? Yeah. And with that, 3 trades is maximum. 2 trades, we made 2 trades for the day today, right? We saw other trades. I saw other trades. I was like, nah.
No, it was
2
a
trades,
win. Two out of 2. It's a win for me.
It's a
Yesterday
win.
was a win. The other day was a 3 out of a 3.
Yeah.
It's a win. So I'm going to listen, if you're now starting out, just take it slow, right? You don't need to be, you're not a bot. You cannot, emotionally, personally, me, 2 and 3, I'm tapped out mentally, okay? We have a hard cutoff at 11 a.m. I'm done for the day. I need to go about my day. I have other things to do. And trading doesn't need to be all day. You need to be there when the market opens, and you could be done by 11 o'clock. Sometimes back in the day, when we first started out, we would be there from the market opens to the
To
market
market
close.
close.
What the hell?
For
That's
what
crazy.
reason?
The thing is, when you get into trading, is because you want your time back. You want to be able to do other things. You want to be able to make your money and then go out to lunch, go out to brunch, spend time with your spouse, and so forth. And this gave us the freedom to be able to live on our own terms. Because why? We know that we are done by 11 o'clock. If we see a trade and it's the third trade and it's 10:45, I might not even take that because I
Yeah.
don't want to go over. I want to spend time with my husband.
And I'll be pissed if I'm still if I take a trade at like 10 o'clock, and I'll be pissed if 11 o'clock come around
You still in
and
it?
I'm still in the trade, right? So at that is like, but you have to be disciplined enough to
Mm-hmm.
know when to stop trading, when to stop. Oh, like, all right, I may be taking too much trades, right? You get up and walk away. If you lose your first two trades and you be like, all right, my cutoff is three trades. Don't look for a third trade if you're not in the right mental space. Walk away and say, you know what? Let's start again tomorrow.
Yep.
Let's analyze what happened in my trade today. What did I do wrong? Did I get in the trade early? Was it the right setup for me to take, or I just forced the trade? Sometimes people will get too bored, and they're bored.
Yeah.
That's when you sit around the desk all day, which I used to do. You'll take trades that you're not supposed to take because you're seeing shit and making up shit in your head that you're not supposed to see.
I personally believe not every day you have to trade.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't see a trade, don't force it, just like you said. But another thing is journaling, right? You need to analyze your trades. This is a different conversation for a different day, but I do want to bring this up. You need to analyze your trades. If you know that you don't do good at all on a Monday or you don't do good all on a Friday, then don't trade those days, right? I remember years ago that I used to get into a trade and on a do good all week, and come Friday end up giving that back to the market. You know how hurtful that is on a Friday where
Yeah.
you should be just going out and living for the weekend? That thing is detrimental.
Yeah.
That put me to sleep. I was pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, I'm going
Yeah,
to bed.
'cause-
I'm
'cause-
tired. I'm frustrated. No, we're not
You
doing
you
that
build that
anymore.
confidence up all week, and you be like, yo, I'm gonna throw the bag at this. And I'm gonna
Correct.
throw. And the thing is, you end up losing so much because, and then you have to, and those are stuff that you learn over time, right? Because with options, again, guys, options is different. So now when you trade in on a Friday, if you're trading in same day contracts, you know that you're supposed to be in and out of those
In and out.
trades, right? But if you're saying, all right, I need time on this, or I want to be safe, then you go to the next week contracts or 2 weeks out, whatever you want to do. But make sure that you build up the discipline enough to know when to take the trade and when not to take the trade.
So at the end of this, I really just want to say discipline is the real trading edge. Discipline is key throughout all of this.
All right, guys. So with that said, thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.
Bye.